Right, I'm going to show you how to make the loudspeaker and a microphone. This now is working as a loudspeaker. So frequency go up, volume, there we go. So the way that this is working is, I'm going to switch it off. You can see there's a magnet under here, neodymium. I've got it placed just underneath this coil, and the coil is wound onto a piece of cork. So you basically get a piece of cork like this or something similar, maybe a bottle top, and you take your wire, which is very thin enameled wire. This is about 35 gauge American wire gauge, AWG. This is about 40, that's the thinnest. And this is 38. This has got 38 on it. It's a bit very thin to work with. You take about 3 meters of this perhaps. Then you wind it on to your circular object, leaving about 20 centimeters free at the end for connection. You wind it on. Once you've wound it on, you're going to need some sellotape just to secure it, and some glue, and you glue it onto something very light but a large area that's going to act as a loudspeaker cone. So when the coil moves, so does the food tray, and you can mount it on card or a piece of board or something like that. Now, to the positioning of the magnet, you want it to be about here. This is a neodymium, and even though that's not quite how a commercial one works, I'll show you how a commercial one works in a minute. But this is the loudspeaker. This is the basic one. You've got a neodymium magnet. Field lines go out here. You want the field lines to cut perpendicularly across the coil. This is the cross section of the coil. Now, when we put a signal in, we're changing current on the coil. Let's say the current's coming towards us here. Use Fleming's left-hand rule. And of course, we've got current to start with coming towards us. And the B field, the magnetic field, is coming this way. And then the force is going to be up. And likewise, it's going to be up on this side. So that the coil is going to move up and down as the signal changes, because it's basically on springs of sorts. And here's the loudspeaker cone here, and this basically pushes the air and creates a sound wave. So that's the essence of how ours will work. I suppose a commercial one, I've just torn this apart. It's a very cheap one. The cone is made of a papery material. There's the coil there. There's not much wire on this one, but again, it's probably about the same as this, or the thicker stuff, which is about 35 gauge. And you can see though, there's this circular slot, and the circular slot is where that coil goes. And this central bit here is the north, and all around the outside is the south. And this is the springy bit, which is sort of an impregnated cloth, it's sort of concertina shape. So that's how a loudspeaker works. That's quite a poor quality one. But essentially we're going to try and mimic the same thing. You can see though, that's the shape of the magnet in a proper loudspeaker, and from a cross section it's like this, so that the coil goes up and down, and the field lines are cutting perpendicularly across the wires. So in order to make it, then you need something springy. That's got to be just below the coil, so that the field lines cut perpendicularly across. You don't want it inside the coil, really, not with this design. So to get a sort of a springy material, what you notice about card is this: if you fold a piece of card, then it is springy. It springs back again. And you fold it a bit more and see what it does. So it's up like this. It does spring back, but it doesn't oscillate much once it's sprung back, a little bit. So it's almost critically damped. So which is what you want. You want it to spring back, but not keep vibrating. So to make the mount there, you could maybe do it on 2 or 4. What we could do is we could make the concertina shape to start with that we're going to use. Something like that. And that's going to stick to the base and stick to the bottom of the cup. But then because we want 2, or maybe you want to have 4 of these, you can then cut like this, and then you're going to have all the same shape, and you just stick them round. Bit of glue onto there, and you get your spring. Okay, I've made a different kind of card here. It's a bit stiffer. You can experiment with different types. This was just the first one I did. So once you've stuck that down on the base, it's very important that you actually strip the wires. This is why it won't work. So you want scissors, or the kids will use scissors, and maybe a chopping board or something, because what you got to do with the wire is you've got to take the wire, put it on a surface, and you've got to scrape the enamel off, because this is enameled wire, of course. You have to buy enameled wire because it's insulated. Don't try and use normal copper wire, it will short out. So it's enameled wire. You have to scrape off at the enamel, otherwise you'll have no electrical contact. So that's working as a loudspeaker. That's working really well. What we can do is turn it around now, and the AQA talk about loudspeakers and microphones. So let's see what happens if we're going to use this as a microphone. So I don't need the power signal generator anymore, which I've been putting a signal in with that. I'll take that away. It's off. And now I'm going to use it as a microphone. Now hopefully it's still connected to these crop clips, which I've taped down, otherwise the whole thing moves about. Don't forget to put the magnet under, otherwise nothing will happen, and you'll stand there wondering why nothing's happening for ages. Now to use it as a microphone, I'm going to have to set this up slightly differently. It was on 0.5 volts per division. It's going to be much more sensitive now on this one. It's going to have to be 5 millivolts per division, and we're going to have to find that the signal that we're going to put in. I want it triggering external, not on channel 1, because it's not going to trigger if nothing's coming in, no signal's coming in. So there's our trace, and I might adjust the time base a little bit here, but you should be able to see, there you go, some sound. That's good. And if I take something like a guitar, and particularly if I play the A string, works very well. Just adjust the time base. There we are. Closer. Whoops. The contacts have gone there. That's what happens if the contacts go. So you get a kind of a sine wave, and again I've got bigger amplitude than that sometimes. So this is using 3 meters of AWG 38, which is 0.01 of a millimeter diameter for that coil. Working as a microphone, and also working as a loudspeaker. So the microphone, I should just say, similar idea for the microphone. We've got the coil. A diaphragm would usually be lighter in weight and less dense, so that sound energy will move it. A loudspeaker cone doesn't really get moved very much by sound. So loudspeakers don't work great as microphones. They do work. I mean, if you shouted into a microphone loud enough, you'd get a signal out the other side, but it's not very efficient. But ours does both jobs, but quite badly. So this one, we're getting a signal out on this one, because what's happening now is that the coil is moving up and down because sound waves are coming in. we've got Fleming's right-hand rule is what we should be using now for the induced current. So have I done a right hand or a left hand there? Yeah, that is a right hand, that's good. So movement, B field, current. And now if the microphone coil is moving upwards, for instance, and the B field is going across, like this side, for instance, and the current is coming towards us, as shown here, and away from us here. Then if it goes in the opposite direction, of course, if the coil moves downwards, then the current here will move into the board and out of the board here. So that's an induced current. So that's induction for the microphone, and it's the motor effect for the loudspeaker. Alternative designs, we've got this sort of thing, a cup. We've cut the sides down there, and the coil on top. So that just about sums it up. Okay, so that's the loudspeaker and the microphone.